Listen, I made it into Vogue because I was one of the only soap stars in 2004 to manage to get a Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress into Albert Square. I think she's probably had longer to think about her life choices. My favorite all-time moment was when Barbara Windsor pushed Chrissie into an open grave at Den's funeral.
Of all the prison cells in all the towns, what are you doing here? You know very well what I'm doing here. Once a snake, always a snake.
So I love Chrissie Watts because she was a complicated soap woman. And soaps are brilliant for female matriarchal strong roles. Really brilliant. It's why I think there's some brilliant writing for women on it. And I always loved Chrissie because was she a victim or was she a villain? And that's what audiences like. There was a real nuance there and she was complicated. So I remember cutting off Jill Halfpenny's hair as Kate in the salon, when I smashed all the mirrors to take revenge on her having an affair with Den. I smashed all the mirrors and then I offered to give her a haircut. And then I hacked all her hair off and we had one of Chris's first amazing big fights. I loved that. I always love scenes with June Brown. But my favorite all-time moment was when Barbara Windsor pushed Chrissie into an open grave at Den's funeral. I had a really great, and I love Barbara. Spending any time with Barbara was a joy. I was always obsessed with her Joan Littlewood history and everything about her. So I spent a lot of time with Barbara. She really took me under her wing when I was there. And to play that scene where she comes back and says, "Chrissie Watts, murderer," and then shoves me into Den's open grave was a fantastic episode.
Did that hurt?
No, but it was fun having to sort of like recreate a stunt where you fall into an open grave. I think, it was good. That won me a very big gay following. I like that. It was a camp about it. There was something very old Hollywood about the whole thing. I used to love talking to him under the Queen Vic drunk. Remember, I buried him under the Queen Vic, and I remember often going down there. And working with Letitia Dean, working with Letitia. Tish is the funniest woman I've ever met, and we've got a very similar humour. So to work with her was always a joy. But my best moment was Barbara pushing me into an open grave. 19 years on, I would say she spent longer in prison than most actual murderers. Had she had a better lawyer, she probably would have got off for coercive control and self-defense. I think she's probably had longer to think about her life choices, to question what that relationship with Den was all about, she's had to toughen up even more. I think she's found herself in a very difficult position in prison. So she's you don't put Sam Mitchell in prison and probably get away with it. So when she tried to frame Den's murder. So I think she's probably got herself into quite a few scrapes and has had to turn into more of a survivor than she is. I often wondered, because she was under my skin for so long. Well, I was in it for only 18 months, but I played that character longer than I was playing my own human self. I did often wonder, and I was always asked, what do you think she's up to in prison? Well, I was, put it this way, when Chris Kemshaw rang and said, "Would you like to come for this explosive storyline?" I said, "Tell me about the storyline, because actually I'm free at this point. Tell me." And he told me, and I sat down for 20 minutes while he told me the storyline. I was like, "Oh, I'm coming back for that. It's great." I think the fans of Chrissie will love it. And I think fans of EastEnders will love it. It's a good one. Well, listen, I made it into Vogue because I was one of the only soap stars in 2004 to manage to get a Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress into Albert Square. And Vogue even picked up on that. I mean, listen, I don't need a BAFTA. I got Best Dressed Soap Star 2005. That's in my toilet. That is my award that I hold on to with my greatest joy.
What did it feel like getting back with the cast, getting back on Albert Square again?
It was very odd. It was very odd. It was actually lovely. I loved every minute of it. As I say, coming out of sort of Shakespeare world, and I was writing another video play. And so to sort of have this moment that came up, that it was like, actually, yes, the stars have all aligned. Now is the moment to revisit Chrissie. it was amazing. The crew, many of the crew were still there. So it was a joy to see them. I was working with a limited number of cast, but they were all people that I love dearly. And at the beginning, and when I first got there, I thought, oh God, am I going to be able to find this character after 19 years? I've lived so many other, Auntie Val, Mrs. There's been so much television that's gone on since in the 19 years. Am I going to be able to find this character again? And within 2 minutes, it was like finding a coat you put in the attic that you loved, and you put it back on and it fits. And it was like, I knew exactly who she was. And it was amazing. It was a real fit. And she's so well written. I was very blessed because Tony Jordan and the brilliant Sarah Phelps created that character and wrote for that character. So I was more nervous that I was going to come back and were the scripts going to be the same? Were they going to be able to be truthful to the character? And I was delighted with the scenes and the way they'd written for her.